transaction isolation levels. Okay. So we're identifying the various isolation levels. In what way, whether we are identified the failure may occur at any time, and also we identified rollback. Also, our cascaded rollbacks also happen because one transaction is reading other transactions data. But the thing is here in the SQL transaction standards, a lot of transaction allows a transaction to be executed in the non-serializable order also because of the performance issues. So, for example, we are having a short transaction and we are having a long transaction also to be execute more data. We can't wait this long transaction for the sake of small transactions. Okay. What happens if you are identifying only executing the small transactions and waiting the long transaction? Long transaction further will wait. Okay. So it leads to performance issue or need to pay price. Okay. So the thing is, if the sum of the if necessary, even though we are maintaining the serializability, sometimes a transaction may read uncommitted data also. Okay. So in what way it has to read an uncommitted data? Okay. So that to increase the performance of the overall system. Okay. If the transactions are executing in the serial order or serializable fashion, they could interfere with other transactions also. Okay. Which may causes other execution to be delayed. So how we are maintaining this particular thing? What are the various different types of isolations we can maintain? What is the meaning of isolation is giving us, the isolation tells us in what way we cannot interfere with the other transaction so that we can maintain serializability. These isolation levels specified by the SQL standards are, okay, the serializable usually ensures serializable execution. What is the meaning of serializable or serializability? It ensures serializable execution of the transactions. However, database systems may implement this isolation level in a manner that they, in certain cases, they may allow non-serializable executions also. In certain cases, they allow non-serializable executions also. Our intention is to maintain the serializability so that one transaction may not interfere with other transactions, but sometimes we need to accept non-serializable executions. Okay, so for example, if the transactions are repeatedly reading some data, some transactions, more operations are on read operations than write operations. Okay, so repeated read operations allows only committed data to be read because they are using the number of times. Okay, they are using the number of times. Repeatable reads allows only committed data to be read because they are using the number of times, so that first data, whatever it is reading, it should not differ with the data with the other. Next time it is reading, maybe for the same data element. Okay, so the between two reads of the data item by a transaction, okay, because one read statement may be at the beginning, one read statement may be in the middle of the transaction, one read statement may be at the end of the transaction also. So between two reads of the data item by a transaction, no other transaction is allowed to update it. Whatever the repeatable reads means, a transaction is reading same element maybe number of times. One may be in the starting, one may be in the middle, and one may be at the end. If you are identifying a transaction is reading repeatedly some data element, we should not allow other transaction to update it. Okay, we should not allow other transaction to update it. It is called as the condition number one, the repeatable reads. Repeatable reads. Okay, this is the transaction isolation levels. In what way you can isolate a transaction with other transaction? Okay, if that any transaction is reading the same value number of times repeatedly, we should not allow other transaction to make any modifications or to update it. So, however, the transaction may not be serializable with respect to the other transactions. Need not be serializable. It may be different by some other value, but for this value, at least we are making sure between two reads by the same transaction to the same data element, we are not allowing other transactions to modify. We are not allowing other transaction to modify. So for instance, if it is searching for the data, okay, reading the value, okay, satisfying with some conditions, okay, that means we are having a SQL query repeatedly. Whatever the number of times we are executing the same SQL query, we should get the same result. Okay, that means you have to read the value maybe more than 2 times or at least couple of times. But between these couple of times, we should have the same value. We should have same value. Okay, right. So is a transaction may find some of the data inserted by a committed transaction, but may not find other data inserted by the same transaction. Okay, it should not. Okay, whenever we are searching the data for the same data, whatever the data, whether it is committed data or may not committed data, okay, must be by the same transaction. Okay, that is the reason what we are doing when you are reading the same data maybe a couple of times through SQL queries, we are not allowing other transaction to modify it. Okay, that is the repeated reads. That is the repeated reads. The condition is for repeated reads. Clear? Right. Now we identify one more condition called as read committed data. Repeated reads, we are not allowing other to modify. In the repeated reads, we are not allowing others to modify. Otherwise, read only the committed data, read committed. Okay, read committed. It allows only committed data to be read. Okay, but doesn't require repeated reads. Okay, it is reading only once. But the whatever it is reading always the committed data only. Okay, it is not reading the same value more than one time, but it has to read the data once and one and only it is committed. In the previous case, even uncommitted data also you can read, but not allowing others to modify in between. In this particular case, you are reading only committed data. You are reading only committed data. Okay. For instance, between two reads of a data item by the transaction, and the transaction may have updated the data item uncommitted. It is not going to be allowed. Okay. But after reading this particular value, you are not going to read one more time. You are not going to read one more time. Let others may modify. Let others may modify because we already completed reading of that value. Okay, we are not making any modifications. Okay, third category, read uncommitted. It is neither repeated reads nor only the committed. Okay, certain times you can allow uncommitted data also. Okay, but be careful, the uncommitted data whatever we are reading by a transaction, at least in the repeated reads you are not allowing others to modify. In the repeated reads you are not allowing others to modify, but sometimes you may read uncommitted data also. Okay, so whenever you are reading is uncommitted data, it is more error prone. It is more error prone. Okay, others may at any time may modify. So that is the reason this reading uncommitted data is always we feel lowest isolation level. Lowest isolation level. So what are the various things? You can read the data uncommitted also, but in the serializable manner. In the serializable manner. Okay. Right. So the first lowest level is reading uncommitted data. See, it is serializable, but you may read uncommitted data. Okay. Other is read always committed data. It is more secure. Otherwise, at least when you are reading more than one times, okay, repeatedly in the same transaction, don't allow to modify the transaction. Okay. These are called the various isolation levels. All the isolation levels above additionally disallow dirty writes. Okay. Dirty writes, all isolation levels above, whatever the three isolation levels I identify, it additionally disallows dirty writes. What is the meaning of dirty writes? Okay, they disallow writes to a data item. They disallows writing to a data item that has already been written by other transaction. One transaction is already modified. Okay, when some transaction is already modified, it may not be committed or at least aborted. That means still the modification is not finalized. Don't write. If you are writing anything that we call as a dirty writes. If you are modifying, if you tries to modify any data item which is neither committed nor aborted, which has been modified by some other transaction, is called as dirty writes. అంటే ఒక ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ ఆ డేటా వాల్యూని ఆల్రెడీ మోడిఫై చేసింది, కానీ ఇంకా ఫైనలైజ్ అవ్వలేదు, కమిట్ అవ్వలేదు, లేకపోతే అట్లీస్ట్ క్యాన్సిల్ అవ్వలేదు. It doesn't gone back to the previous value, neither gone back to the previous value nor confirmed the this value. If somebody tries to modify, this value, uncommitted value, we call it as a dirty writes. So the above isolation levels never allows such dirty writes. Okay, the never allows such dirty write transactions. Okay, right. Now we'll see once again, after identifying these three different types of isolation levels, we'll see once again how to maintain the concurrency control. How to maintain this concurrency control. A database must provide a mechanism that will ensure that all possible schedules, whatever we are identified as either conflict or view serializable. Either conflict serializable or view serializable. What is conflict serializable is telling us, okay, it is creating a serializable order. Okay, and the recoverable and preferably cascadeless. They should be, if even any error occurs, it has to recoverable and preferably cascadeless also. Whatever the recoverable schedules, the recoverable mechanisms I told to you, previously explained, it should applicable to those modifications, either default database modifications or immediate database modifications. By using those things, you can do undo operations or redo operations. Okay, that can be possible on this concurrent control mechanisms. All these values, the transactions may be cascadeless also. That means one transaction should not affect the other transaction. Okay, so a policy in which only one transaction can execute at a time generates serial schedules. Okay, but the serializable schedules always providing us poor degree of concurrency. That is the reason we are executing the transaction concurrently, but obtain serializability. Okay, right. So testing a schedule for serializability after it has been executed is maybe little too late. Only the two goal is to develop. Priorly, we need to identify. Okay, our goal is to develop concurrency control protocols that ensure serializability. అంటే ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అయిన తర్వాత సీరియలైజబుల్ గా ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అయిందా లేదా చూస్తే వేస్ట్. Before itself, we need to identify some protocols that ensuring serializability, that makes the transaction to be executed in serializable order. For it, we are having some protocols. What are those protocols is, we are having lock-based protocols, validation-based protocols, okay, timestamp protocols. First, we'll start with the lock-based protocols. Protocol ante set of rules that makes the transaction executing serially. That makes transactions executing serially. Okay. So a lock is a mechanism, in particular lock-based protocol. What is the meaning of lock? Okay. A lock is a mechanism to control concurrent access to a data item. అంటే ఏంటంటే లాక్ అనేది ఒక మెకానిజం, ఒక డేటా ఐటమ్ మోర్ దాన్ వన్ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ రీడ్ చేయడానికి కానీ రైట్ చేయడం కానీ ఎలా యాక్సెస్ ని కంట్రోల్ చేస్తుందో, యాక్సెస్ ని కంట్రోల్ చేస్తుంది ఒక డేటా ఐటమ్ మీద. ఏ విధంగా కంట్రోల్ చేస్తుందో చెప్పేదే లాకింగ్ మెకానిజం. ఓకే. ద డేటా ఐటమ్స్ కెన్ బి లాక్డ్ in the two modes. A data item మీద ఒక కాంకరెన్సీ కంట్రోల్ మెకానిజం ఒక ఆపరేషన్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేస్తుంది. ఓకే, దట్ వీఆర్ ఐడెంటిఫైయింగ్ ద లాక్. ఓకే, విల్ సీ వాట్ ఆర్ ద మోడ్స్. ద డేటా ఐటమ్స్ కెన్ బి లాక్డ్. ఓకే, ఒక డేటా ఐటమ్ ఓన్లీ. సెలెక్ట్ వి సే we are having a data item or variable x. ఆ వేరియబుల్ x ని మోర్ దెన్ వన్ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ అయితే ఎలా రీడ్ చేసుకోవాలి, ఎలా రైట్ చేసుకోవాలి, సైమల్టేనియస్ గా చేసుకోవచ్చా, ఒకదాని తర్వాత ఒకటి చేసుకోవచ్చా చెప్పేది లాక్ బేస్డ్ లాక్ మోడ్స్. ఓకే, వీఆర్ హ్యావింగ్ ద టూ మోడ్స్. ఫస్ట్ మోడ్ ఈస్ ఎక్స్క్లూజివ్ మోడ్, exclusive X mode. Data item can be both read as well as written. When you are identifying a variable X under a transaction, let we assume the transaction is locked the data item in its favor. A transaction locked the data item X in its favor. But only thing is, in its favor, it can lock the data item in two different ways. Okay, the first way is exclusive lock. Data item can be both read as well as write. What is the meaning of exclusive locks? It is telling when you any transaction locking a data item in its favor in exclusive mode, the transaction can read the data item, the transaction can modify the data item. When it is locked in the exclusive mode, the data item can be read as well as write. That is indicated by xlock. Okay, so xlock is requested using the lock x. That means xlock means exclusive lock is requested using lock x. Okay, lock x instruction. Okay, so that means we are using exclusive lock on x instruction, x data item. Okay, we are having if you don't want right. So for example, transaction want to only read. Okay, it doesn't want to write. Okay, so you can execute a exclusive lock, a lock on the data item. Exclusive lock is also allowing us to modification. We don't want modification, we just want to read. Then we are having one more low level lock called as shared lock. When the data item is locked, okay, using the shared lock mode, okay, S lock, okay, we call that particular, the data item can only be read. Okay, అంటే ఏదైనా ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ కి షేర్డ్ మోడ్ లో కనుక లాకింగ్ ఇస్తే ఆ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ ఆ వాల్యూని రీడ్ చేసుకోగలుగుతుంది, కానీ ఇట్ కాంట్ మోడిఫై. అంటే ఏమిటి, ద ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ కంట్రోల్ ఇట్ సెల్ఫ్ ఈస్ రిస్ట్రిక్టింగ్ ద డేటా ఐటమ్, దట్ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ వెదర్ ఇట్ కెన్ రీడ్ ఆర్ ఇట్ కెన్ రైట్ ఆల్సో. Okay, so in the previous isolation we are saying other transaction should not modify. How it control the transaction control can issuing exclusive lock or shared lock. If the transaction control is giving control using the exclusive mode, then the transaction can read and write. It can. If it is given only shared mode only, if want, others can read only, because previously I told in number of times a data item can be read by anybody. There is no change in the value. But once you are modifying, the value will be affected. Okay, so the shared lock data item can be only read. We can issue a lock instruction, lock S. Okay, so we are having the two modes. We are while giving the permission itself, we are controlling the transaction, whether the transaction can read or write also. Okay, so lock requests are made to the concurrency control manager. That is the reason whenever a data item want by any transaction, the transaction first is request to the concurrency control manager. It can't directly take. Then the concurrency control manager will control whether to give exclusive mode or a shared mode. Okay, only once the transaction control gives the permission, then only transaction can use the data item. Otherwise, it can't even use the data item. Okay, so based on this particular thing, say for example, we are having this small table is giving us two transactions. The vertical is one transaction, maybe horizontal is another transaction. The vertical transaction is obtained a shared lock, whether any other transaction can obtain any lock or not. Okay, the other transaction can obtain shared lock. When the horizontal transaction is holding a shared lock on a data item X, okay, clear? That other transaction can also obtain shared lock simultaneously. So both transaction can read the data items and number of times, whatever the direction it is. But when transaction is reading a value, it is using in its processing, other transaction should not modify. Other transaction should not modify, because until unless this horizontal transaction commits, the horizontal transaction commits, the vertical transaction can't modify. Okay, hence that is the reason we are allowing the vertical transaction to obtain the shared lock. You are not allowing others to getting a horizontal exclusive lock. We are not allowing the modification. We are not allowing the modification. Okay, but at the same time, when the horizontal transaction obtained a lock for this variable exclusive lock, that means this horizontal transaction is about to modify. It is not modified at this time, but it may modify the value. Once it is decided to modify sometime later also, you should not allow other to read, because anyway this value is going to modify. We are not allowing even the vertical transaction to get a shared lock also for reading also, because the value of X is going to be modified because the horizontal transaction obtained the exclusive lock, right? So when the horizontal transaction is about to modify, even you should not grant any control on the vertical transaction, even for the exclusive lock, because horizontal transaction is decided to modify. What if the vertical transaction is also decided to modify? Who knows which transaction is modifying this particular value? Okay, so lock should not be granted. Lock should not be granted until horizontal transaction is releasing its locks. Okay, once the horizontal transaction releasing the locks, that means when the horizontal transaction finishes its operations, once the horizontal transaction finishes its operation, then you can allow the vertical transaction to create its locks. Okay, so strictly until unless both are read operations, both transaction can use the same variable. If the variable is used by a transaction is about to modify, you are not allowing other transaction. You are not allowing other transaction. Okay, this is the meaning of lock controls. Tomorrow we'll come to with an example how the lock-based transaction protocol works and various types of lock-based protocols. Okay, right. So give your attendance now. Okay, give your attendance. Right. In the next class, we'll go with the strictly lock-based protocol. What are the different types of lock-based protocol? Very, very, very important topic tomorrow's. Even whatever the shared lock, exclusive lock, what I told you, explained you, that will come in the short answer question. But tomorrow's class will come to full-fledged question. Okay, be careful.